Hey guys, welcome to our channel. It's Freya and Charlie here. Today we are sharing with you 7 delicious, easy vegan dinner ideas.
Yes, these are dinners that we make all the time. It's not necessarily a week's meal plan, it's more of a week's worth of inspiration. So 7 dinners that you can take these ideas and you can make them at home.
Definitely, and they're all very simple, very easy, things that you can come home after work and cook, whip up pretty quickly, and they kind of cross over a range of cuisines. So there's some like traditional, sort of British dishes, things from all over the world. There is actually something that isn't super simple, a vegan roast dinner, which we had on Sunday.
We did make it quite simple because we went and bought the pies from M&S.
Yes.
So we'll give you our little review right at the end of the pies that we had on our Sunday roast.
So let's get straight into it with our first dinner.
We absolutely love eating Asian food, but sometimes we need a little shortcut to help things go a little quicker. So we like using these ramen packets, and we take the spice mix from the ramen packets and add a little bit of hot water to it and use that as a marinade for our tofu. It's just a really simple thing that helps add a bunch of extra flavour for the tofu. And then we take some greens like broccoli and then some nice sweet carrot, and we steam that whilst we get our tofu all nice and crisped up in the pan. We've also done it along with some mushrooms. We kind of mix this up quite a lot, so whatever we have in or whatever's cheap at the shops, we kind of go with that, but we went with mushrooms this time. And then after the tofu's done marinating, we've cooked it up. We obviously keep the liquid because that's what we want to cook the noodles in, and we add the extra water to that and just cook the noodles. And it really is that simple. All you've got to do from then is plate it up as you would do any other ramen dish. So you go on with your carrots and your broccoli and your mushrooms. We've done some nice sliced radishes as well, and then the tofu right on the top. We had some sriracha mayo in the fridge, which is a really nice spicy vegan mayo to go on the top too. And that's it. Super delicious, super easy, really tasty.
Our next dinner doesn't really have a proper name. It's kind of a mishmash of different components, but it's essentially harissa roasted cauliflower steaks with some other delicious bits. So the first thing we're going to do is prepare our sweet potato and carrot mash, so we get that parboiling, and then we whip up a pesto. We've gone for a rocket based pesto, but you can use any nut with basil and you can add in some extra greens. So we then move on to our cauliflower steaks. So we slice them into kind of big inch thick slices, and then we add the harissa on both sides and pop them in the oven. We also do it with some delicious crunchy roasted chickpeas for some protein, and we like to mix up the spices each time we do it, but today we went for some smoked paprika, salt and pepper and some oil, and they're delicious when you crisp them up in the oven. So you plate up the mash, top it with the steaks, a bit of rocket on the side, the crispy chickpeas, and then you drizzle the pesto all over, and it's the most delicious, nutritious bowl. It looks a bit faffy because there's lots of different elements, but it's honestly really quick, and it all basically takes the same time that it takes to roast your ingredients in the oven.
This is actually another recipe that doesn't really have a name. Maybe we need to get better at naming our recipes, but essentially what it is we add some flour to some courgette and some aubergine, and we fry them. We sort of shallow fry them in a bit of oil till they go lovely and golden and crispy. So that's what you can see we're doing here. We're popping the sliced aubergine in the flour, tossing that around so it gets covered in flour, and then frying that off. We also make some nice garlic butter bean mash to go with that. Sometimes we go with cannellini beans if there's no butter beans in the shop, but we like butter beans. And then alongside that we do a beetroot salsa with some lemon juice, some salt, some red onion and a ton of dill. We like to do this with fresh dill, but dried dill works just as well too. And then to plate that up, we're going to have some rocket. We put the salsa, we put the butter bean mash, and then the lovely aubergine and courgette on there too, and there you have it.
Our next dinner is a Mexican-inspired burrito bowl, and this one is great for meal prep because it's got loads of different components. We do actually have a full-length recipe video for this that we posted a few weeks ago, so we'll link that down below. You want to start off by doing your quick pickled red cabbage. You could swap it out for normal cabbage, but we like the red cabbage. Then you want to make up a salsa, so we're using some little tomatoes. You can add in some red onion, a bit of lime, some coriander. Keep it really simple. You could just do fresh tomato on the side if you couldn't be bothered making up the full salsa. We then start prepping the other bits for the bowl, so we're doing some little gem lettuce, just sliced up, shredded up, whatever you want to do. We're also doing some radish, just for a little pop of colour. It looks really nice at the end. Then we're going to be doing a spicy cashew cream, and the first thing you do is make sure that your cashews are really soft, so you boil them in hot water and leave them for about half an hour. You then mix them up in a blender with the nutritional yeast, and then we add in lots of lovely smoked paprika, and it's got a really nice kick to it. Then the next step is some lovely smoky spicy black beans, and we like to add in a bit of sun-dried tomatoes and some red pepper. We kind of take inspiration from frivolas. It's like a kind of less blended version of that. So we add in some nice herbs, a bit more lime, lots of delicious spices, and we just cook that on the hob for a few minutes. And then we serve it up with some rice. So if you wanted to keep it simple, you could just do plain rice, but we have done for this recipe a kind of spiced rice. It's not too spicy, it's quite light, and it also just gives a really nice colour to the dish. And then lastly, we're going to do some fresh guac. Just mash it all up in a bowl, add in the lime, salt and pepper. And I don't think you can have a Mexican burrito bowl without it, so it's kind of a must have. And these are all the components, and like we said, you can prepare these up in advance. Great for lunches as well as a dinner. So there we have it, that's our delicious Mexican burrito bowl.
This is sizzling sesame oil noodles with crispy crumbled tofu. Yes, it's another tofu dish. We absolutely love cooking and eating tofu. It might be our favourite protein. But all you have to do is crumble the tofu into some corn flour and then fry that up in a pan. Cover with a bit of salt and pepper for seasoning, and then into a bowl we make the sauce for the noodles, which is a bunch of ingredients mixed up. We've got a full recipe for this on our YouTube, so we'll make sure to link that. Then that gets poured all over the cooked noodles and then mixed together, and then into the bowl goes the noodles. On top goes your lovely golden crispy tofu, and then some peanuts, some spring onion, and a bit of coriander and a squeeze of lime juice too. Totally delicious.
This is currently one of our favourite dinners at the minute, and it's based off the classic Italian dish spaghetti aglio e olio. So we used the base of that dish and then we added in some extra things like roasted squash and chickpeas, and then we did it with lovely cavolo nero. That's what we do in our proper recipe, but we couldn't find cavolo nero in the shops, so we used kale for this recipe. It worked just as well, so basically any nice green will do the job. And then we did it with some lovely tagliatelle. It's such a quick dish. Basically, the time it takes for you to roast your chickpeas and your squash, the whole thing just comes together at the end in a pan. It's a really nice, comforting, warming dinner, and you've got the added protein from the chickpeas too, which is great.
So this is our Sunday roast like we were talking about in the beginning. We initially wanted to get the nut roast for this, but they didn't have it in. I think they've stopped selling it even, so we decided to try out these pies. We did some roast potatoes, obviously. You need to have roast potatoes. We did that with garlic and some clementine peel as well. Some lovely carrots, some steamed broccoli and steamed cabbage, and we got a lovely Plant Chef vegan gravy to go with that as well. These pies were actually really nice. The pastry wasn't the best pastry I've ever had on a pie, but the filling had a really good flavour and quite a nice texture too. All round, you can't really go wrong with a Sunday dinner. It's something that we love to make. It's always tasty, and you don't have to miss out at all being vegan. Thanks so much for watching this video. We really hope that you got some inspiration. There's some things that you thought looked really tasty and you think you might want to make at home.
If you are still looking for some more inspo for what to make for dinner or breakfast or lunch, we have done lots of these kind of like weeks of vegan meal ideas, and we've also got some whole like what I eat in a week ideas as well, so we'll link them below and also put some on the screen in a minute.
Let us know which of these meals you reckon look the best. Leave us a comment and let us know what your favourite one is.
Yes, and we will see you in our next video.
Bye!